Hey guys, and welcome to the opening match of Yegalisk Pro Cup, the first edition of this weekly series of tournaments. Let's start with Zerg versus Terran first, and here at the bottom left corner we have Dilvish spawning as the red Zerg. This is the moment where you come in, Zed.
Oh right, yeah. I thought you were doing some shenanigans, with the camera or something like that. So I actually
What a
didn't
start!
know where to come
Can
in.
we start that over?
And cut. All right. So at the top right corner, as the blue Terran, we have Funkay, the Polish Terran player, who actually was a kind of a co-caster of sorts at Intel Extreme Masters a few days ago, and he's kind of an interesting Terran player in that he has his I'd say a specific style of play, but we can cover that later.
And he's also the inventor of the Funkay dance, which is one different method of splitting your marines against banelings.
Yeah, that's actually a great method. If we want to cover that later, I'm kind of wondering if he's gonna do that because we don't know if Dilvish is gonna try and build any banelings. And the map is obviously Daybreak, and if I remember correctly, that is a best of 3, right?
Yes, this is all best of 3, that's the idea for this tournament. So guys, just so you know, we thought that it's the best for both the players and the viewers if we make this series as intense as possible. And one way of doing that is only allow Diamond, Master and Grandmasters player in. So in order to play in the finals or play in the quarterfinals, you don't need to chop your way through the bracket of gold and platinum players. No, you start right off the bat with the highest level of play, and right off the bat we have the best sort of people play against each other. So I hope it's going to be fun. If you have any comments, if you have any wishes for further tournaments or suggestions, please let us know on the chat or just mail us at Yegalisk TV. The main price of this event is $100 spread between the two winning players. One gets $75, the second one gets 25, and both is enough for a nice dinner with a girlfriend. But anyway, let's get back to the game.
Already Funkay is showing us his distinct style, which is the third command center in the main. He's building the second one in the natural, which is a natural thing for a Terran player to play against Zerg. But right now Funkay is going for something he actually showed us a long time ago on ESWC 2011, I believe. It was in Katowice, where he played just like that against Paranoid, a Polish Zerg player. He did the triple command center and then went factory. Actually, he's building a second set of barracks right now, so I'm kind of confused. But it's actually, if you don't feel a lot of pressure from the Zerg player, it's actually a great build to do in a TV.
Yeah, and free command centers is something that is very useful, but we usually see that go with Helion Expand. So you need to have the factory at least, preferably a factory with a reactor, and then you can easily support that. And that third command center, you don't need to take an expansion with it right away. What you should do is just to saturate both of your mineral lines in the natural and in the main, and that also gives you energy for extra mules. So this is a very nice economic opening. It isn't very dangerous to defend. It's quite easy to play, if I may say so.
Yeah, at the same time though, Dilvish is doing a great job with his scouting overlord, getting a lot of information about his opponents, so he knows there's a third orbital command in the main, that there's an additional sets of barracks over there, and he actually sees the tech labs and the reactor, so that's a lot of information he's getting out of this 100 mineral watt of overlord. The second overlord's gonna die at the third expansion. There's actually not much to defend.
A nice harassment by Funkay here. And this third expansion may as well go down. These queens are trying to get there, but may barely do so. It's 140 points left on the expansion. Very nice micro from Funkay, trying to optimize the time he's shooting the expansion. And he did manage to force out a cancel, a very good result with only 4 marines involved, and only one of them will not be going home for Christmas.
Yeah, but at the same time, I would say that Dilvish kind of cancelled the hatchery prematurely. I was kind of thinking that it would not be destroyed. So well, maybe it's just me. But at the same time, you know, he's kind of reacting to this Funkay style, which is the third orbital command. There's the factory with the reactor, but actually we won't see any Hellions because there's already a starport over there.
Yeah,
so
it's a very late factory.
Yeah, he's basically switching to a lot of Marines, and perhaps maybe a Marauder too. And this is going to be a timing push from Funkay with the upgrades, with the Medivacs. He's actually doing a great job with the upgrades. There's the Stimpack, the Combat Shield, and the +1 infantry weapons. Well, kind of almost done with the +1 lagging behind. And Dilvish is trying to attack. I'd say that it's...
Well, he's also going for a timing push. If you notice, we have a lot of Zerglings on the way, and also Baneling Nest is nearly done. So by doing this push, he can actually deal a lot of damage. But if he attacks too early and loses too many of his Zerglings, then he won't have any chance for doing the Banelings he so much needs for this attack.
Yeah, but at the same time, this is kind of an anti-timing attack, in which Funkay already has the Combat Shield and the Stimpack upgrades. And
only one bunker, and the bunker doesn't get a focus. Instead, Dilvish focuses on the units, and Marines get a heavy damage. Now the bunker is being focused, but no, Dilvish doesn't have enough roaches at this point. No Banelings did participate in this attack. Instead, what he's planning to do is apparently go for the third.
Yeah, it was kind of weird attack from Dilvish because he has a Baneling Nest but didn't really do anything with it. I would say that waiting these few critical seconds to morph, let's say 12, 15, 20 Banelings and then attack would be a much better idea from Dilvish. Even though Funkay would have had 2 Medivacs, they wouldn't have helped much in this kind of encounter. So I'd say that it was really a bad decision from Dilvish right there.
Yeah, it seems so, and he may be on his nerves. He's playing against a rather known player in Europe, so he may be acting prematurely, and you know, many of us have done that on the ladder. When you are playing against someone who just seems stronger than you tend to make very miscalculated decisions, if I may say so, and perhaps that was just one of them. Right now, Funkay is moving out with his forces. There are Banelings morphing near the Zelnaga tower, but they will be spotted by this one single Brave Marine. And this whole force of Funkay is just going for the third.
Yeah, well, this is a nice kind of attack. He might have a chance at destroying the hatchery because the Banes are not really trying to connect even. And there we go, the hatchery goes down. A great attack by Funkay, really, because right now he could even... oh, nice split. He could just basically load everything up onto the into the Medivacs and just get out of there. But he's trying to deal more damage.
Oh, the workers are going for the minerals. Ooh. I'm not sure that was supposed to be so, and they may as well get destroyed. But centrifugal hooks is very close to being done. The Banelings now will be much more effective, but the question is, will there be any Banelings left for the attack?
Yeah, there's already around 15 drones dead, so yeah, the Zerglings are not really effective in that position. There's too many Medivacs, the Marines are already on +1, and only now the +1/1 upgrades for the Zerglings are finished. Exactly. So yeah, this is actually a really bad position for the Dilvish to be in. And actually, this attack deals much more damage than it should have.
Yes, this attack should have been stopped by the Banelings. We can see Dilvish is trying to pick up a third again, but you know, if you take a look at Funkay's base, we have a dozen of barracks, exactly a dozen of barracks, and we have just so much macro power there, and Dilvish is just on his back right now on all fours, trying to stand up again, but I'm not sure that will be possible. Drops from Funkay in the main, and Medivacs are flying all over the place. Dilvish can no longer control this, and I think we'll be seeing a GG in a matter of seconds. Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, GG.
The fall base got attacked, and basically he just dismantled his opponent. It was very one-sided.
And it was a very precise attack too. Now, first we had those 4 Marines that attacked the third and forced out a cancel. Normally they wouldn't have, because I think we both agreed on the fact that there have been a couple of seconds spare there, but he just panicked and he cancelled the third, so he wasn't able to pick up his macro as soon as possible. Funkay, on the other hand, he already had free command centers. And when you are playing against a free command centering Terran, you should probably go for a very fast 4th base as a Zerg. Otherwise, you end up in a very unequal situation.
Yeah, well, let's see what's gonna happen in the second game. It kind of looks like a one-sided best of 3, but I'm kind of gonna hold this opinion about it.
Hold that thought.
Until we see a second game, because it could go either way. You know, just because someone lost the first game doesn't mean that he's gonna lose the whole best of 3.
So let's see how this goes, guys. Now we'll be back with you in a second. We should be invited in a game in a matter of minutes. Perhaps the guys will be watching a replay. Not sure. Do you have an invite to the game already, Zed?
Not yet. Funkay is in the menu, so it's probably gonna take a second or two. Yeah, you know how players are like. That they take their sweet time in creating a game, and
let's see how the casters sweat. I always wonder what the guys do between the games.
It kind of depends on the player, and this is no MLG, so there's no admins standing behind the players and going like, you just join the game, dude. But you remember Zazu, the Polish player? Yeah, he frequently AFKs because he needs to smoke.
Yeah, and that's one of the most annoying things ever. I don't have anything against Zazu, but when a player asks for a 5-minute break in a very tense and a very close best of 3 or best of 5, it's just so freaking annoying, Everyone's tensions is up the roof, and then he says, well, I'm going for a smoke. See you later.
Yeah, he smokes a lot, basically, but I guess it helps him to wind down. So
remember, kids, don't smoke.
Yeah, don't smoke. Yeah,
smoking is bad. Zed does it, but smoking is still bad.
Well, actually, I don't.
You stop? You quit?
Yeah, I only do it on events. So yeah, there we go. But anyway, yeah, it's not really something you should be doing. Except for like if you win $1 million, then you can buy a cigar.
Yeah, I mean, if I would have won $1 million, then I would buy a whole pack of cigars, and the best ones only.
Yeah.
What would you do? A random question. What would you do if you won $1 million?
I've no idea. I actually have no idea. I would probably host a huge Starcraft 2 tournament.
Yeah, obviously.
For like some of those money, and then I'd choke on sweets for a whole week.
You would get so much sugar rush, you would end up in a hospital with a coma, probably.
Yeah, that would probably be.
What I would do with my $1 million? I would buy myself. I'm not sure if you remember in James Bond, The Man with the Golden Gun, there was this awesome and cool island somewhere east. I don't know where the island was, but the look was just fantastic. And they had this house built into the island within like a rock formation. So I would buy myself that freaking island. I would still found a Starcraft 2 tournament. That's a must be if you're a caster and you win $1 million. That obliges you to something. But then I would spend the rest of my days on that island pretending I'm a part of a James Bond movie, and with a cool chick too.
Yeah, and then you'd have to have this like P57 or something like that, the small gun. Because in the new Bonds they have these, they have these like Desert Eagles or whatnot, but the classic Bond had this small gun, and I actually prefer
was it.
Beretta? No, it was something different, and I actually prefer it to the new Bonds because it's small and easy to conceal, and spies are about being sneaky and stuff, and he's a spy.
Exactly.
He's not like this master assassin or anything. So it kind of fits the character, I'd say.
And also, I would say that that the older James Bond movies just have much more humor than the recent ones. Craig is just super stiff and he takes it too seriously. I think one of the best jokes of James Bond movies was I'm not sure if Roger Moore was in it. Yeah, I think it was. So the whole movie starts with a nice winter cottage, and he's of course in a bed with a chick, and then he gets a ping, and he leaves the bed, and she says, "James, why are you leaving? I need you." And he stands in the door. He puts on his jacket and says, "So does England."
That's like a corniest line ever. It's like,
yeah, one of the best quotes from James Bond movies, if you ask me.
All right. Starcraft 2, right?
Yeah, Starcraft 2. Back to the realm of the living.
Mm-hmm. Funkay at the bottom left location. Being the blue Terran as he is, I'm kind of wondering what he's going to play, because last game was kind of macro oriented, but at the same time he did great timing. So I really like the I really like how he does it. He goes for the macro mode, but at the same time he does these cool timing attacks, and he's really relevant through the early stages of the mid game. So that's quite important.
And of course, on the other side of the map, who we have here is Dilvish playing, and we'll see if he manages to get 1 point in this best of 3 or even eliminate Funkay and surprise us all. He already takes an expansion here. Now, let me tell you something interesting I've heard today while I was watching GSL VODs. It seems that against Terran, recently, the metagame has shifted, so Protoss and Zerg no longer give a scouting worker and try to find out about Terran, because on most of the maps, I'm not sure if Cloud Kingdom is one of them, Terran just manages fine to put a second supply depot started and just denies the scouting, so you need to find your other way around that, and people just stopped scouting in these matchups.
Well, I kind of see the change when they scout a lot later. And I'm kind of wondering if this is only on Korean server, or is this going to crawl into the American and European servers? Especially that we have global play now, so it's I'm gonna call that. This is quite important for me to say a few things about global play.
Zed, I think you're breaking up.
Actually,
or is it me?
Yeah, actually, kind of for us, but everything seems to be alright now.
Was it you or was it me? No one knows. So we will never find out who was to blame. Okay, so could you recap what you were saying before we got this break in audio?
Yeah. Basically, Dilvish's Overlord was getting battered over here, but it got away. The barracks had to turn it around, and Funkay is going for the third command center again. So basically, it's the carbon copy of what we've seen on Daybreak, and given the fact that Funkay defended the push, I'm kind of wondering as to what's going to happen right now, because Dilvish is already building 2 sets of extractors. I'm really wondering if he's going to try and attack again, because Funkay's defense looked really great without the banelings that he, I would say, forgot. So really interested about this game.
Yeah, and from the judging from the gases, he has 2 in the main. He doesn't have 2 at the expansion. And he neither did take the third, so he's definitely not going for Mutalisk play, otherwise we would already see a layer tech perhaps, and we would also see the gas geysers on the natural for the Zerg be taken. But other than that, Funkay is playing exactly the same style that the last game, and he should be pretty safe. I mean, right now he went for a factory with a tech lab, so he'll probably go for siege tanks. We don't see a star pod yet, so he'll just play defensively and try to expand. And on Cloud Kingdom, expanding and taking your third as a Terran is super easy. There are lots of approaches, but once you get the siege tanks, the high ground here just works so good for you.
Yeah, it's kind of funny right now because again, Dilvish did this great scouting with the Overlord, which revealed the third orbital command, the double refinery, etc., etc. But at the same time, he sees a double barrack setting, and this is actually so misleading because there's a factory over there in place of the old barrack, and it's the same set of barracks seen twice. So I'm wondering if Dilvish is going to try and act, you know, and get a, make a wrong decision based off what he sees.
I think
And
that at this
yeah.
point it may not really matter that much because you know, one barracks or two barracks, your preparation stays more or less the same. Now what he hasn't saw are the siege tanks, and this might be some, well, there may be something funky there, and his overload vision around the expansion shows him that there is gas, so he knows there will be a tech play. He may be preparing for a Cloaked Banshee, which is very good actually, because there is a Cloaked Banshee incoming. Now let's see if he did read that correctly. That's most
double
important
engineering
thing of
bay
all.
also. Well, this double engineering bay is a theoretically really great play from Funkay, because he's already basically he's building the Banshee, but he's already switching to Marine tank, and double upgrades on Marines are really great in TVZ. This is kind of like countering double upgrades from Zerg, and I mean in the old times you've built Zerglings and Infestors and went for really fast +2/+2 and then +3/+3 when you switch to Tech 3, and it was usually Broodlords because the upgrades synergize with the Broodlings. But at the same time, Dilvish is making a slight mistake in this play. He already has a third base, so he's capable of mining a lot of gas, but at the same time he's only now starting ground carapace level 1 upgrade, which is really a mistake, I'd say, because these are, you know, the +1 attack is almost finished.
Yeah, this will be some awkward timing for him, really. Now, what he should do also is around the 9-minute mark is usually when you sacrifice your Overlord to fly into the Terran's base and try to check for hidden starports with the Tech Lab on. Now we already have 2 Cloaked Banshees, and it seems he didn't see them.
He actually did with the Overlord.
Well,
in the
the Overlord did see them, but the question is, does the player know that one of these flying balloons did actually acquire some scouting information? The Banshees are already cloaked, and there is no detection in Dilvish's base whatsoever. Now let's turn on the panic mode and see what happens.
Yeah, it's actually terrible position from Dilvish. I'm actually, well, did he not pay attention to the minima? That's a critical mistake right there. There's a lot of Banes that can be focused down, and that means there's going to be a lot of gas, you know, lost. In the losses.
You're exactly
Dilvish
right.
is going to lose a second queen, and it opens up the possibility to snipe more drones, and this is really bad news for Dilvish right now.
I think what Funkay should focus on is just get as many kills as he can on the workers, and you know, he doesn't need to save the Banshees at this point. They already have a nice set of kills. Together they have 16 kills, and what Funkay does is exactly what I was supposed to say. Orbital command landing on the 3rd base, being secured by 3 siege tanks and a bunch of Marines. That's everything that you may want at this stage of the game as a Terran.
And he's gonna snipe a few Banes after destroying every single drone in the 3rd base, so this is actually, you know, it's really frustrating for Dilvish right now. His anti-air defense is inadequate, he doesn't have Spore Crawlers in critical places, and he was actually super unprepared for this, and I'm actually,
it seems so.
yeah, I would say that this is all his fault, because he saw, well, his Overlord saw the Banshee, so he had a lot of time to prepare, and he just didn't do it. And
yeah, if your Overlord sees the Banshees, you have like 25 seconds. That's enough to get Spore Crawlers up, and that's enough to get some Overseers. That's enough to start the production of additional queens, because if Banshees are coming, then most likely you may lose a queen or two if you are underprepared. But nothing of that did happen, and Funkay seems on the straight road for victory in this game. And yeah, right now he's moving out with his siege tanks, with all the Marines that he has. They are +1/+1 right now, and before he reaches the opponent's base, he actually will finish +2 for the weapons upgrade. Now +2 for armor is something that will happen somewhere along the way.
Well, I really like this timing attack, because the 3rd expansion only
And
now
a Funkay
finished. Yeah,
dance.
and
Sorry to interrupt.
there's the Fangal on Banshee. He's actually losing a lot of Fangals over here, because they are not going to be used on Marines, and that's I would say that's some great some great news for Funkay over here. He
And see
destroyed
how
the third
Funkay
expansion.
very nicely does the Funkay dance with his marines.
Yeah.
There's no way that the Zerg will be able to land a very nice fungals on these. Now, the problem that happens right now, if you start to move your army around, no, that's not something that will happen to Funkay. No, his marines are spread nearly perfectly for this engagement. A lot of Zerglings on the way, but he does not need to worry about splash damage from Banelings and Fungal Growth, and the Zerg army just gets completely obliterated, and it all explodes in a bunch of smoke and acid and flying pieces of meat. That's very nicely done.
that's basically GG right there. There's a few Zerglings over here, but with Funkay having some adequate upgrades, he's actually finishing +2 armor, whereas Dilvish only has +1, +2. And right now he would have had +2 if not for the critical mistake of not researching it a lot earlier. There's a huge line of reinforcements from Funkay, so this is basically undefendable right now for Dilvish.
Yeah, and you know, Dilvish may think, there's not too many units on the front, but see this huge force making their way around the map, and you know, this is going to hit Dilvish hard, and he will lose the third expansion and a GG. So here we have the first result of this tournament. Funkay goes further into bracket. We will see who will he be facing in a matter of seconds. Now, a bit of analysis about this game. What do you think happened?
There's basically there was a lot of small mistakes over there, and I really like how the Banshees. Well, actually, I didn't like how the Banshees dealt a lot of damage to the Zerg player, because he was basically unprepared. You don't even need a lot of spore crawlers or anything like that, because you need them. You only need them when you
in critical spots.
I mean, you only need them when you're not paying attention. Or when you don't have some mobile detection, such as overseas, and he had Lair. So 1-2 overseas, he had like 4 queens or something like that. So he just had to rally them into the natural and defend against the Banshees, and that would have been that.
Exactly. Alright guys, so we'll be off trying to find the next game. I hope it's going to be Mishu versus Krr, and I'm one of the people that can't say Krr exactly right, so you'll do the introduction. And they will be starting the game in a second, so see you later guys. We'll be back with the next match. Be right back.